I'm going to hit this wash from a Riviera 70 at speed and and again. Oh, that's nice. That's great. Okay, g'day guys. How you going? Welcome to Queensland. Dan Jones is my name. Welcome to Dan's Boat Life. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy myself today. I'm on a really unique boat that's going to be quite interesting to quite a few of you. Those of you watching from Australia, you'll know it's been pretty hard to get to Queensland over the last 2 years. We keep opening and closing the bloody border with all these silly lockdowns and what have you. And I reckon some of you might have quite a sneaky use for a boat like this. You know, there was a time when we had roadblocks in between New South Wales and Queensland. So I like the idea of kind of bypassing all that, doing the little sneaky and running the border. But if you're going to do that on a normal boat, you're probably going to get caught, because yes, the Queensland government did think of that. But a boat like this, you just head out offshore, bypass the radar coverage and just come in from the north end and pretend like you come in from Whitsundays or something. Sneaky, yes. Smart, definitely. So I like that. Anyway, that's not really what this boat's about. This boat is and I have just been out in the ocean and done some runs up and down the Broadwater here on the Gold Coast, admittedly sitting down in the dunny. This is a do-everything boat. This is a no-nonsense boat. This is a exceptionally efficient boat, and this is a boat that's going to give you maximum enjoyment for minimum fuss. That's my assessment from sitting down on the dunny. So let's just see if that's actually the case from the driving position. This is the Aquila Molokai. Molokai, some Hawaiian name. Don't ask me what that really means. I believe it's an island somewhere. But it was designed specifically for guys who want to run offshore and go to surf spots. So we got a few guys in Australia who are going to want to do things like that. But I can immediately think of multiple uses for a platform like this boat. So as I said, we've been running for about an hour already. Up and down, doing some turns, going out in the ocean. We've burnt 20 litres. 20 litres. So, you know, I'm not normally one to make a big deal about fuel consumption, because at the end of the day, this is a boat channel, drive boats, we burn fuel, who cares? You know, fuel's not really one of your biggest costs, at least in Australia. I assume that's the same in America. I know the Euros get a little bit upset about fuel consumption, but that's not us. But that's going to translate to range. This thing, if we've only burnt 20 litres in what we just did this morning, we've got over 500 litres. We've got 570 on board. You're going to chop up some miles if you want. You know, this boat, she's about a 30-foot cat, very, very high bridge deck clearance. I could see from the drone, nice and skinny hulls, which just absolutely slice through the chop. And it's very much a boat that you could set and forget. And what I mean by that is, forget's the wrong word. You can set and relax. You can set and relax, because you don't need to be revving up and down to make your way through the chop. You could just set it on a sensible speed and the hull is going to look after you. So so much so, I don't think I could compare this to any of the cutting bow adventure boats that I've tested so far in upwind offshore conditions. This beats them all. Like, it absolutely beats them all. So anyway, we got a couple of 200 horsepowers on the back. This thing comes standard with 150s. So we're running the 200s. We started with a full tank of fuel, so we're down 20 litres from 570. And in terms of gear, it's just myself and Nick on board and a little bit of camera gear, not much else. And there might be some water in the tanks, but comparatively empty boat. You can load this thing up with 15 or 16 people. Like, it's legally allowed to take a lot of people, but you've got space and capability to take a lot of people as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get the boat moving. We will do some slow stuff initially. If I go quiet, it means I'm concentrating. This is not my home waters. There are Queenslanders everywhere. They like their jet skis up here. There's little boats, big boats, and sandbars. So I've just got to make sure I don't hit any of them. But first things first, if you look behind me, and I've got another camera which is hopefully capturing all this boat's not making much in the way of wash. So we're just sitting at 7 knots there. I'll just wind that speed up a little bit. So rolling through 8.5. The disturbance is really minimal. So you could take this boat through a no wash zone, go past rafted up people or a marina, for example, and you're not going to be that dickhead who throws people around with their wash or with your wash. It's not too aggressive. So let's just roll it up a little bit. I'm coming through 9 knots there. I'm not seeing any acceleration or any vertical acceleration on the bow yet. It's quite flat running at the moment, and I'm just sitting on 10, now 11 knots. It feels like the boat is almost planing. Let's just get it moving a little bit more. So that's rolling through 12 knots. Yeah, 12 knots, this boat's planing. So at the moment, okay, I've got the engine trim all the way down, and I'm already doing 15 knots, and my RPM is at 2,200 revs. Feels like she wants a little bit of engine trim up, so I'm going to do that. That feels much better there, 2,250 revs. So a couple of degrees of engine trim, and that's just 15 knots. Tell you what, you could just sit and relax at this speed, but let's just give it a little bit more. Yeah, here we're starting to hit our happy place. 17, 18 knots. You're just going to be absolutely sipping the fuel at this speed, and this just feels like I'm on a cushion of air. Like, this is, you really could just sit back here and drive with your foot and just enjoy the day. And I think that's possibly what, or part of what the designers have intended with this boat. Because imagine if you're running up or down the coast or heading out to a fishing spot or a surfing spot, you might have great distances to eat up. Some of our Pacific cousins or you know, expat Aussies living out in Fiji and those sorts of places, they're going to love a boat like this. You know, imagine going out to your island or your surf break. You're just going to be chilling with the boys. You're going to have all your surfboards racked up top, and you'll just be eating up the miles and doing it in comfort. So let's get a little bit more speed. So I'm just going to stay inshore for now, just to get used to the hull before we run it out into the ocean. And we will be doing that in a second. A little bit of confused water here. This is just all tidal mess. Confused with some of the swell coming through the broad water just there. 2,800 revs, and I'm just sitting on 19 knots. Beautiful. This is just it's a different feel. Catamarans, obviously catamarans are different to what I'm usually posting on this channel. Like, if you put it in the turn, you can feel the boat leaning outside into the turn, whereas a lot of monohulls you'll see me testing, they're going to lean into the turn. So that is a little immediate difference I can feel just there. Let's give it a bit more speed. Jet skis, fishermen, cruisers. Oh, there's another Aquila. That's the bigger brother to this. Okay, so we'll just bring that speed through 20 knots. I can feel the hull flattening out a little bit there. So I might just give it another smidgen of trim. So we're going to bring it up to what I would believe to be a bit of a slow cruise for this boat. So that's just 21 knots. Let's go straight through this flock of seagulls. Get out of the way. Can't you see I'm doing a YouTube video? Beautiful. Wow. Wow, the fuel gauge hasn't even moved. 21, 22 knots, level attitude. The boat just has this catamaran motion, which is different. If you haven't been on a cat, it just has these other motions compared to a monohull that you may not be used to. So you've just got to familiarise yourself with that. Let's give it some speed. We've got some powerboat wash from two boats, one of them being another power cat. I'm going to go through them in a second. I'm rolling through 23, 25. I'm going to maintain that speed, and I'm going to hit this wash from a Riviera 70 at speed, and and again. Oh, that's nice. That's great. Wow, that would be relaxing. Okay, let's wind it up. I did that at 25 knots. Now I'm at 27. I've got a little bit of trim on the motors. 30 knots, easy. Full tank of fuel, remember. Just going to give it another degree of engine trim up. Little mini rooster tails there, that's always good fun. Okay, let's give it wide open. Full tank. Feels solid. 36. 37. 38. 38 and a half. A little bit of engine trim. 38 and a half. So, with half a tank of fuel and light, I reckon this is a 40 knot boat, but you can say easily 35 plus, no worries. And that tells me loaded, we've got cruising speeds, yeah, in and around that 28 knot range. So let's just turn it around, and I am slowing down to do my turns in here. Once again, I got shallow water, got turkeys all around the place. I don't know where everyone's going, so I'm just gonna, sorry, no turkeys, this is Queensland. They're all wonderful people. Shouldn't say that, how rude of me. I'm gonna be careful what I say now that I'm on YouTube. I have a tendency to blurt things out and then people get angry at me in the comments, so don't take it personally. Alrighty, here we go. Alrighty, so let's just see how this boat behaves with some S turns. So acceleration and pickup is just, it's actually hardly noticeable. That's how I'm going to describe that. It's hardly noticeable. The boat, it's just so incredibly smooth. So I'm just doing these turns at 20 knots. I'm going to speed that up a little bit. 20 knots, and most of this cruising I'm doing is about between 2,800 and 3,200 revs. I'm on 3.2 now. And she has this moderate lean on the outside of the turn. So she's leaning like this. Now I'm going to turn to starboard, and she's going to lean like that a little bit, but it is hardly noticeable, and it's just a function of this hull. So you just got to get used to that, because that will be a little bit unnerving for those of you that have not driven power cats before. And once you realise that it's to be expected, I think that's not a problem. Now, next thing's worth noting, just while we exit the broadwater here, I'm standing in the regular standing position. I've got a clear line of sight, and for what we've just been doing, I've had really zero bow raise for me to lose visibility. But the line of sight, I can't see the bow with my little legs. I can see, yeah, I've got to get on my tippy toes to see the actual bow. I can see everything around me, but I can't see the bow. So if I need to increase my visibility, I've got this footstep. Now I can see the bow, rock and roll. So if that's if you're a short ass like me, and that's a safety issue, you can just increase. It gives you about 4 inches. Now I can see absolutely every point on the boat, and sitting is actually quite a high sitting position, which I really like, and it makes a lot of sense for this boat because you steer with the steering knob or you steer with your feet, and you can just let the hull do the work. And we're just chopping up through some confused water here. I'm just coming through there at 22 knots. I'm just going to exit at sensible speeds. This is always fun going out of the Broadwater here because there's all these surfers that go from the mainland to this island just here because there's a good surf break, but there's no land access. So you see these dudes just paddling in between go fast power boats going in and out. So it's quite brave, let's put it that way, of them to do that. So I got a little bit of powerboat wash coming on a diagonal. I'm not going to change my attitude, just see how the boat handles that. Wow, nothing. This is an offshore weapon. This boat, you know, just the adventures that are starting to come into my mind now for a boat like this, and the design, we're going to talk about that in a walkthrough. So if you're interested in a walkthrough of this boat, that's going to be a separate video. Subscribe, keep an eye out on the channel, and I'll upload it when it's ready. But I see this boat being something as a no-nonsense, all fun kind of boat. It's a bit of a blokey boat, but it's not going to disappoint women either. It's very much a Queensland or tropical boat. It'll be great in Sydney too, but I see this being more exciting for those guys who've got fishing at heart, surfing, diving, those sorts of activities, and lots of offshore runs. So, you know, if you wanted to be running up to the reef, I would just drive this boat. I wouldn't bother trailering it in between locations because it's clearly such a good hull. So what we'll do, I've got some moderate rolling swell, the tide's going out, and I've just got tide going into some waves here, but these are really quite small. I don't even need to slow down, but I will just to be sensible. Here we go, here's the rough stuff. Choppity chop. Yeah, so nice. I got proper breaking waves out there. I actually do have some breaking waves over here. So I'm just going to ease my way out because I do have Nick on the bow, so I'll try not to get him wet. One thing I did notice, the lounge seats on the bow that are up the very front, just on our drone shoot, they stayed completely dry because I was launching and catching the drone from there. The forward-facing seats on the centre console got some sprays of water on it. So isn't that interesting? You know, we've out here, the waves were a little bit steeper before for the drone, but now, what are they, a metre and a half, and we maintain speeds, you know, up to about 25 knots, but just no water on those front seats. And I would actually also be comfortable running this boat with people at sensible speeds, but with people in the bow. It wouldn't feel too unnatural or unsafe. So I'm just going to run. I'm not going to go fast yet when we're still in these rollers on the exit, but I'll speed it up a little bit in a second. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, this is just so comfortable. I'm liking this standing position. The center of gravity of the boat, it's a different feel, once again, to a monohull, but this is something you can really get used to. There we go, nice little rolly one there. And I gotta say, this lands, you know, compared to something like an Aquila 28, for example, which I've driven, you know, hundreds of hours on, this lands so much better because you've got two really skinny bows absorbing the impact, and comparatively to what is also a very skinny bow. But this is like another level of comfort. So different boats, I know, so it's not really the best comparison because it's a different sort of purpose, somewhat. But this has really got capability. Look at that. Okay, so now I'm just 2,400 revs, and I'm just letting the boat do its thing. You know, here's some rollies. Rolly ones will drop off that. Nick seems fine up there on the bow, and I'm just sitting at 13.5 knots. I'm just going to go upwind for a while. Just going to follow this track, and then I'm going to turn around and pick up the pace a little bit, and so you guys can see how she goes off the wind. So to me, like, I always, like you should too, plan your days around the weather. So if you've got a nice downwind run, do it. You know, go and do it. Or, yes, this is a boat that goes upwind quite comfortably. We're doing it right now at 14 knots. You could, if you're a surf ski paddler, you could run upwind. Let's face it, a few miles upwind is going to be enough on big surf days. Drop your skis in the water. One of you is on driving duties, and everyone else can be in the water. You guys could just surf waves. I've done that before with some guys, and it was a great day. I was the driver. I don't have that skill set to stay up on my ski offshore yet, but what a great thing to do. What a great couple of hours, not even, you know, if you enjoy those downwind paddles, compared to having to do it with a car and launch from a beach and paddle down, and then you got to go back and get your cars and all that drama, that's all day. You do it on a boat like this, you can just rig the boat up, drive upwind, a couple of miles, have your paddle, do your thing, and then go out to brunch because you've had a good day. So I think that's the benefit of owning something like this. And then when you're done, the decks are already going to be comparatively quite dry because it doesn't seem to be throwing a lot of water around the place, and you just chuck a hose over it. So it's kind of like, you know, go and do other things with your life. Don't be so stressed about managing the whole boat situation and having it take up your whole day. Here's some decent rollers. Wow, it's a cushion of air. Okay, I'm going to turn around and I'm just going to get the boat up to pace. You know, I feel confident turning even with these waves around me. The boat just feels solid. Now let's get some speed up. $15 knots. Oh wow, yeah, this is cool. This feels good. So I'm just sitting on 22 knots there. Yeah. I found it. This is the Molokai's happy place. Downwind runs. Look at this. Woohoo! We are cruising. This is great. So smooth. Now I'm going down a few biggies there, so copping a little bit of spray. 22, 23, 24 knots. I could go faster. I'll just accelerate up the back of this one. Ease off on the face. That's good. So smooth, so capable, so fun. You know, this is real go do cool things kind of boat. So we're getting back to the entrance here. I'll just get over this next wave. And then I'll probably find another wave and just sit on the back of it. Oh yeah! Awesome! How good's this? I love doing this. Alrighty, so here's all the confused stuff. So I'm not going to go crazy through here. I'm just going to sit on the back of this wave over here. That's me. heaps of power, plenty of pickup, so if you misjudged it, you can just accelerate back up to the next wave. A couple of blokes in the water up the front here, so not sure what they're doing. And now I'm going to get out of the rough stuff and head over to this side. Okay, this is boating without limits. You know, this is, who cares what the forecast is doing? We're going. No, that's never the case. That's not true. This is just really widening your area of operations compared to what you can achieve on many other boats. You know, we're just sipping the fuel. We're getting a great speed return. We're getting exceptional comfort through the chop, and so that's just going to translate to so many options. Oh, there's a bird right in front of me. We'll try not to kill you. That's just going to translate to so many options that your fun's just going to be expanded. It's as simple as that. Anyway, if you want to watch the walkthrough, subscribe. You'll find that video coming soon. That's been the test drive. My name's Dan Jones. It's been Dan's Boat Life. See you on the next one.